everybody. Welcome to Dishing with Stephanie's Dish, the podcast where we talk to people in the food space who are as obsessed with food as I am, whether they're cookbook writers or just foodie aficionados like our guest today, whose name is Teena Anderson, and she bills herself as the grilling queen of Anoka, which Anoka's a big place, Teena. These are high standards.
It really is. We run a full-time grill outside our butcher shop. I bought Anoka meat and sausage about a year and a half ago, and I've always had a passion for the industry, but I really did reinvent myself. I came out of the corporate world, and I lived in Edina for 20 years. I started a small salad business, and I started catering things on the side, and my passion really kind of turned into my new future career. And Anoka meat and sausage fell in my lap twice, not only once, but twice, and I couldn't really pass it up.
Well, tell me about that story because that sounds like one for the books.
Yeah, so I was just cooking along in my career and doing this little side hustle, following my passion. And a business broker approached me and said, there's a meat market that's going up for sale in October. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, sure. But when I got close to doing it, somebody had bought it and looked at it. Timing was bad. My mom had cancer. She passed away,
Oh,
long story
sorry.
short. We had moved up north, a little closer to Albertville, and the deal fell through. Somebody had bought it. And he was trying to buy two businesses, couldn't get it done. And long story short, the business broker reached back out to me a year later. And then I kind of went to business and said, you know what, this has crossed my path twice now. And I should really take a serious hard look at it. And I did. And then following March, it was a done deal.
So I find it funny, like not haha funny, but interesting funny that you
Mm-hmm.
went from like you think you're doing salads, which is your
Yeah.
catering business, right? And now
Yep.
all of a sudden you're in this meat business. Like
Sure.
meat is super different and requires
Yeah.
different skill sets. Are you a butcher and did you have any of that knowledge
I did
beforehand?
not have any formal training. I was also during that time, I started working a ton of farmers markets. I developed my own barbecue sauce line. It's called Sweet Teas. And I've got a rhubarb barbecue sauce, bourbon peach. It's sort of a gourmet, um, unique niche barbecue sauce thing. And it was
Sure.
just going gangbusters. And then I started doing other things for people. I'm all Scandinavian, so I was doing lefse. I was doing meatballs, Swedish meatballs, and then I was also doing pulled pork and tons of ribs for my barbecue sauce. So cooking has been my passion for a very long time, even though outside of starting that little salad business, that kind of launched my name. But I had such a broader perspective of the things. I made homemade potato sausage. And in my neighborhood, people kind of call me the meatball lady. I
That's
use
okay. I'm the
literally,
tomato lady on TV, so we got that
yeah.
going for us.
I've been hustling barbecue sauce and Swedish meatballs and rosettes and krumkaka and all kinds of different things for a long time.
What
And
is
I wanted
the
to,
Oh, sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
I really just wanted a platform where I could do all the things I loved and then also fulfill a need for when you're a specialty cook. The way we ate changed a lot in the 80s. And everything went to processed big box stores, and the butcher shops became fewer and fewer around. And as I'll just call myself a home cook, so to speak, even though I've written a cookbook and all that kind of stuff, you can't buy a bone in anything anymore. Good luck
Right.
trying to find a brisket. Good luck trying to find a crown roast at a local grocery store. The resources weren't out there. And I get super frustrated. And I like to make very creative recipes sometimes. And I was just like, I want to make a resurgence of the old fashioned butcher shop. I want to have the availability that people know that they can come and get whatever they want, custom cuts and um, for barbecuing or family events, that kind of stuff.
So tell me about the cookbook that you have.
Sure. 2019, I did a cookbook, my first ISBN, I should say. And it was called All About Gratitude. And it's more like a holiday fare cookbook with all kinds of great recipes on it, in it, like my Swedish meatballs and my crown roast, turkey, making that Thanksgiving turkey, lefse, all kinds of different things. And after that, that was all before I bought the butcher shop. And then now I'm kind of finding myself in a place where I'm cooking on TV live on Twin Cities Live about once a month. And I'm going to be on Fox 9 on the 4th of July. And then I got lucky to be introduced to you through my person who reaches out to. I just got to be really busy with everything, so I hired a what do you call it?
Publicist.
Thank you.
PR.
The
Yeah.
word escaped me there for a sec. A publicist, and she's like, "Well, let me just look at a few places around your market and see where you might fit." And I was just so thrilled when
So
she
let's
said it.
just chat for 1 second about you called yourself a home cook, which is what I
Yeah,
call myself.
yeah,
Um, and I call myself that because I feel like if you've gone to culinary school or you've owned a restaurant, that puts you in like a chef category.
yep,
And I have never done that or had that training, so I'm just a home cook. Is that
yep.
kind of your distinction?
Absolutely. And I have a Facebook group called Sweet Tea's Kitchen. That I have like about 1,300 followers locally, or regionally, locally. And I put all of my Twin Cities Live episodes out there, all of my recipes. I cook almost every day online, and I posting things what I'm doing today, special projects.
What do you find that people that follow you are interested in learning more about or interested in cooking these days?
A couple different things. I think there is a real desire to renew old-fashioned cooking. Like I just made kuchen, things like my Swedish meatballs or lefse.
Yep.
Or people really want to have that touchy-feely heritage stuff. But mixed in there, everybody loves a great Italian dinner, or I make a veal um, pappardelle pasta dish and different things like that that are just hearty, interesting, and you can make at home. That they're not. They seem more difficult, sound more difficult than they really are.
Right.
So I like kind of take old recipes but put a more modern flair on them.
When you cook on TV, I think that cooking on TV is like a unique skill set. Is
Yeah.
it different than when you're cooking in your kitchen or doing your Facebook lives, and how is it different?
It's different because I love it so much, and I just love it. I get to share a part of me that's, even though I'm cooking, it's that artistic outlet that you're expressing your love for cooking in a whole different way. Knowing, people ask one time, "Are you nervous?" I said, "Well, at first I was very nervous, but I'm not anymore because I think of it more as a conversation
Right.
with my friends. This is what we talk about, or it may be a little dummied up or shortened up because we only have 5 or 6 minutes to get it all done. So we condense it. However, it's the same. It's just the thrill of sharing recipes with other people that are interested in the same things I am.
Right. Right. When you think about meat in particular, have you
Mhm.
noticed a difference in the meat market, like people being interested in more vegetarian things? And do
Yeah.
you carry some of the, I guess, fake meat, we'll call it?
Yeah, yeah. We don't. We carry everything that we can, like our organic Amish chickens. We have some grass-fed things that we order. You can order a half a cow through us, or a quarter. We can do a grass-fed or non-grass-fed. I tend to feel that prime is a little overrated, even though it has its place. Not only, and I may differ in opinion with a lot of other people, uh, but I because it gets somewhat of a marketing thing for the agricultural people to make more money sometimes.
Right.
There is a place for it. There is a place for grass fed. But like if you're making a prime rib, I say you don't want grass fed. You want the fat, you want marrow, you want the buttery flavor that comes from a corn fed animal. And realistically, the only difference is all animals are pasture fed on grass, but they're also supplemented with corn and other things. So there's a little bit of a mystere there. I kind of feel like it's a little trickery on how it's put out to the public.
Yeah, I mean, we have grass-fed beef, we have
Mhm.
corn-fed beef, we have grass-fed corn-finished beef.
Yes, exactly. And
There
and
are
and they
lots,
use things like rotated pastures. It's all stuff that every cow is on a rotated pasture, unless you're, living on a tiny farm in the middle of nowhere with a barn and one stall. You
right.
have to feed,
Yep.
they're out in the pasture eating fresh grass all the time. Um, but what gives it the great marbling and some of those flavors that you want is going to be grass fed is going to be a lot leaner and have a little different flavor.
Anoka meat and sausage, obviously, I'm assuming sausage is kind of your sweet spot. Are you
Mhm.
like one of those places that has like the crazy sausages too, like the wild rice habanero and the
Oh
gummy
yeah,
bear?
absolutely. We're kind of known as the home of the 3-inch ribeye. We've got butter steaks. It's a teres major muscle. It's a non-working muscle of the shoulder on a cow. It's very much like a tenderloin or fillet, but it's just you just don't want to cook it. You want to make sure you cook it medium rare to keep it tender. But then you're right. We have this other side. We smoke fish. We process deer. We make sausage. We have beef sticks, jerky. We have our own 2 smokers that are going pretty much all the time, and a very big part of our business.
What's your weirdest sausage, Tina?
Oh, let me think about weirdest. Oh, we get some good ones. We have like a baked bean broth.
Yum. That sounds
For it's
amazing.
it's a little bit out of my taste. I tend to like myself to stay in more of the classic flavors.
Uh-huh.
A beer broth or a plain fresh broth is really good to me. But I do love our mac and cheese broths. I
Tell me
think
about that. It just
there's
sounds like
some,
a burst of cheese. Yum.
yeah, and the just a little bit of chew from the macaroni. It's so good.
I love it.
Some, some people love our dill pickle brats. And then oh gosh, we got like the mango habanero.
Sure.
All of just the wild rice. We have blueberry wild rice summer sausage that we make. We have jumbo homemade wieners. There's nothing better than once or twice a summer having a skin on homemade wiener.
Skin on homemade wiener is my jam.
And
And
if you're up north a lot and you're doing campfire cooking and you're doing, it's just so easy and yummy.
yeah, and I love Polish sausages too.
Absolutely. And we do
What do
our
you
own Swedish potato sausage and our own Swedish meatball mix. So we've got a big variety of things.
So are you when you talk about like potato sausage and some
Hmm.
of those, I guess I'm gonna call them like old world arts, as it were, because
Yeah.
that's kind of something that came over maybe from the Danish, Norwegian, Swedish,
Yep. I
Scandinavian
love that.
folks. Are you like rediscovering a love for those traditions?
Yep. Yep. And that's kind of where I started before I moved up here living in Edina. I was doing the Swedish meatballs because you can't find it anymore. Not everybody is as adventurous in the kitchen, and they've got their grandmother's old recipe or they've got their mom's recipe, and they may not be brave enough to do it. So I started saying, "Hey, I make Swedish meatballs," and they're like, "I want to put me on the list. I love Swedish meatballs."
Yeah.
And I think one fall, the first fall I moved up here, I sold like 9 to 1,200 meatballs just in my
Wow.
neighborhood.
When you think about cookbooks that inspired you, are there like
Mhm.
specific books that are on your shelf that you would never give away?
Definitely. I've got a Better Homes and Garden Heritage Cookbook that was my mother's, and it's all about foods of America from immigrants.
Oh,
It,
neat.
it is so fascinating, and it has a story for every region and all of the nationalities during the big immigration, at least into the United States in the early 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s.
Right.
In fact, that's my grandmother's cooking recipe was in there. My mom's Swedish meatball recipe is in there. Very similar. They're not exact, but they did just such a great job of covering the southern states, Louisiana. I learned a lot about Florida and the Spanish influence coming through there. And it's a great cookbook. I also will tell you, I'm in the middle of trying to read Julia Child's cookbook.
Yep.
That is like an encyclopedia.
Yeah. She's got a few. Are you going through the original Mastering the Art of the French Chef?
Yes. And I'm finding so many things in there that I know, like sweetbreads. We carry sweetbreads in our
Yep.
butcher shop. I've never made them. It's on my list to conquer at some point. I hope I can. That one's a little far fetched out there for me in as far as my palate is. I think there's only two things that I don't really like as far as food is concerned. And that one I'm just trying to drum up the
Okay,
courage.
sweetbreads, which I actually do like sweetbreads if they're
Do you?
prepared. I do. I didn't think I would, but then I had them, and veal sweetbreads in particular, which
Okay.
if you're not familiar, it is brain. It is a
Yep. Yeah.
slice of the brain, and it is
Yep.
fried in pan fried sometimes or breaded.
Yep.
Um, what's your other thing you don't do, Tina?
I'm not a real big fan of mutton. Like I like a nice lamb
Yeah,
chop, but it's a little gamey for me.
I love lamb, but I refuse to do like haggis or blood sausage.
Yeah, right. I haven't had blood sausage since I was a kid,
Those are
and
my like hard nose.
yep, I love lutefisk. I like hair. I like there's just not a lot of people these days don't like lutefisk anymore, and I love lutefisk.
I
Just
wouldn't
not.
say I love, but I would do it, you
Yeah,
know, I would do
I
it.
can't. I kind of compare it to a sea bass a little bit. It's a little
Yeah.
or
Well,
but
it's been super fun to talk with you, the Anoka
yeah,
Grilling Queen. We will put a link to Sweet Tea's Kitchen Facebook page in our show notes so that people can find that.
yes,
Also a link to Anoka Meat and Sausage. I
thank
just
you.
really have enjoyed talking with you, and I may contact you about some other projects I'm working on. You sound like you're a real fun chick.
Oh, you do too, and I feel like I know you already, but that's just because I've been following you for years. And I do have what do you call it, a manuscript that I need to pitch to the historical Minnesota press at some point. I'd love to pick your brain on some ideas
Sure.
and how.
Feel free to DM me or reach out anytime. I'd be
Uh,
happy to help you spread the word.
thank
All
you.
right, Tina, it's great to talk to you. Thanks.
Yes. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.